Hello and welcome to the FTHcast. We are so glad you're back. This is part 2 of our post-E3 assessment. We're still assessing. We are much later than the recording of the first podcast. We had some technical difficulties after recording the first hour. So the first one was recorded on Wednesday. This is the Monday after, so some more stuff has come out. We'll probably touch on some of that stuff, some Xbox woes again, and then, gosh, all kinds of stupid stuff. But anyway, I'm kind of glad because that allowed us to give us a little more time to look at some more games and stuff that weren't shown at the conference, which is good because that's actually what this whole podcast is going to be about, is specifically the games. We talked a lot about the specific conferences in the last podcast if you didn't listen to it. And this one we're going to talk more about the games, which I'm pretty excited about. I'm here with Mr. Nathan.
Hey.
Of Winterfell. No.
Oh my god. We're going back to Game of Thrones.
Yeah, going back to and Kyle, Mother of Dragons.
My house didn't explode. I am alive.
Okay, good.
Coming to you live.
All right. Let's actually start out with one thing we forgot to talk about in the last podcast. We were going to finish with it, but we just didn't. I guess we just forgot about it. Was specifically, I think it was which system we were leaning towards, which now it's been a couple more days, so we've got a little more time post E3, calm down from the hype, look at some more stuff that's been posted on the internets, and decide. So, Kyle, you go first. What do you think post E3, a few days later? I know the answer, but just what are you thinking about next gen consoles and which one you're going to buy, at least probably primarily?
I am balls deep in PlayStation 4 right now. I honestly don't think, if you literally, all things being equal, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One side by side, unless you are a fanboy either way, like, I mean, hardcore fan of either one, I don't see an argument that puts Xbox One above the PlayStation 4. I think, people can sit here and argue, well, I want to be able to watch this or that. I want to be able to do that or that. But okay, 9 out of 10 people already have another device in their home already that already does that. Yeah. So, all things being equal, I think PS4 wins the day.
Nathan?
I agree. I mean, I'm leaning more towards PS4.
Yeah.
The only thing that was making me lean a little towards Xbox One is just some of the exclusive titles. I love Halo and Gears of War. I know it's been done too much, and then Titanfall.
But with the new system like this, I think some of those older titles like Gears of War, and I think what they're going to do with Halo, they can revitalize those pretty well with the Xbox One.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as looking at, I don't know, they had a list of launch titles. There really wasn't anything on there. I mean, Dead Rising is, but like other than that, there's nothing that sticks out that makes me want to buy it. So, I mean, I'm probably going to buy PS4.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, to clarify, first of all, me and Nathan go back, and I was a Nintendo dude, and he's been an Xbox dude, and we've never really been PlayStation owners, so we're not by no means fanboys of Sony. And I actually met Kyle through Xbox Live as an Xbox Live friend, so we're all kind of Xbox gamers. So I mean, especially for me, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm definitely leaning towards the PlayStation. That's my thing, and I'm already thinking like, oh man, am I gonna have to, if I really dig into this PlayStation, I'm not gonna be able to. I mean, I probably could, but I'm not going to try to pay for both a PlayStation Plus account and an Xbox Live account. So am I going to end up closing my Xbox Live account? But right now, it just kind of has to be PlayStation for me. I couldn't see myself justifying, first of all, $500. I mean, I know it doesn't sound reasonable. I don't know. And it's only $100 more than $400, obviously, but I don't know, $500, $500 sounds like so much money. It's crazy.
Yeah. But again, back to my point about all things being equal, the PlayStation 4 is arguably even more powerful than the Xbox One.
Yeah.
So you're going to tell me I can save $100 and get equal or better of a product?
Right. I think the main reason the Xbox comes out more expensive is one, it comes with the more advanced Kinect, and they have basically two different. The way the architecture is set up in the Xbox is really complicated because it basically has two different operating systems or BIOS going on, because they have one that controls the Xbox and the one that controls all the TV functions, and they basically got to have this special architecture so that way they can run seamlessly together, and then they kind of have this thing in the middle that talks to both of them. It's just really, really complicated, so it ends up being really, really expensive, which is justifiable if you care about the TV stuff. I don't have cable. I don't care about the TV stuff. I mean, I definitely like watching TV. I like being able to get Hulu and HBO Go and Netflix because that's how I do watch TV. But I can do most of that on my Wii U. And if I can't do it on my Wii U, I can do it on my computer. So spending that much more money for that little bit of extra functionality doesn't affect me. And I think a lot of gamers are going to feel that way. There's like, I have a cable box. I can do a lot of that stuff on my cable box. Why can't I just have a cheaper system that's more powerful? You know.
But Paul, we here at Microsoft really feel like going into the future, the Xbox One is going to be your best choice.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind when you make your decision.
Their big thing is, and this is what we're going to see happen. In the next 5 years, we're going to see a new Nintendo console. We're not going to see a new PlayStation. We're not going to see a new Xbox. The next 5 years, we'll see a new Nintendo console. It'll catch up a little bit. In the next 7 to 8 years, we will see a new PlayStation. I'm pretty confident about that. I bet you it's over 10 years before we see a new Xbox, because they're going to push cloud gaming to the limit. To the limit. And unless PlayStation decides to implement that into the Xbox later on, which they probably could do, later on fairly easily, it is what it is, I guess.
Back to that, the whole future thing. Like, I hate that's. I mean, Paul, you and I kind of talked about that before Nathan got on here, but I think that's such a stupid excuse. Like, okay, you're still going to sit here and say, yeah, well, we think the future of game, that's where it's going. Okay, well, 5 years until we get there, PlayStation and Nintendo are going to be laughing at you because all you've done is dig yourself into a hole that you're hoping to get out of 5 years from now. I don't understand. I don't understand Microsoft's strategy.
I think Xbox's launch is going to bomb too, honestly. Not only just sales-wise, but I just think they're going to have a lot of problems with the operating system, and I don't think anyone understands the DRM.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have a lot of people that are pissed off that things aren't working for them, and I don't know. I just think it's going to be a huge mess for them.
And Sony's not going to be perfect either. They're probably going to get a lot new users that they're not used to, and they're going to have to handle that on their servers. They're adding this new payment to play multiplayer, which is standard for Xbox Live, so it's not a big deal. It's something that I think will help improve the system, but it's also just going to change the way that they've been doing things, so they're going to have to deal with a lot of new stuff too. And even like, well, I lost my train of thought, but they're also, they're just, I don't know. It's just not going to be a clean launch for either of them. But I definitely think the Xbox, with how complicated it is,
and then you have all these people that, it's just like their parents are just buying it for their kid. They know nothing about it. It's just like, hey, it's a new Xbox, buy it for them, and they don't realize all this baggage that comes with it.
Right.
And I don't know. Well, I think they'll be ticked off about it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
Don't worry. I already forgot what I was going to say.
But I think the whole, it doesn't bother me having to pay for the PlayStation subscription, and I think new users coming from the Xbox going over to the PlayStation, they're not gonna. It's not gonna be any different to them. I already pay for Xbox, so
right.
What's it? It doesn't matter to me that I'm gonna be paying for PlayStation. So I honestly think that's. Just kind of smart on Sony's part. If they can make their network better and it being paid, that's.
But that's what I meant is it's going to be hard on Sony themselves, because they've got to figure out what they're going to do with the money and stuff, and then just to improve their network in general and make sure, because they're going from something that is heralded as not being that good and trying to make something good. Well, they're going to have to get people on this new network who are paying. And so there's going to be those hiccups at the beginning before they can take this money and use it to improve their network, and that could make people be like, well, now we're paying for it and it's not as good as Xbox. Xbox Live's been around for 7 years. Why can't you be like that? And it was like, well, that's because they've been doing that for 7 years. We haven't been doing it like that for 7 years, so you have to give us a little bit of time. So, blah, blah, blah. But that's the new consoles. Is there anything else you guys want to say? Because I'm ready to talk about games.
As long as PlayStation doesn't get hacked again, I think they're in pretty good.
That would be a catastrophe.
That's where their first money needs to go to. And I think they've probably done a lot more to security than they have. I mean, obviously that first couple hackings were like such a big deal. I'm sure that they've tightened down security a lot more than, because they know. I mean, they just know it can happen now. They're terrified of it now, which is good. But I'm sure that'll. Hopefully, I don't know.
I've started to put little badges on my PlayStation for every time it gets hacked. I just put another little notch on it to keep track of how many times it goes down.
You have like one of those like jungle Bowie knives that you like cut into it.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk E3 games. We talked about a lot of these games in very little depth. Let's start with, I don't know, what were you guys... Let's start with like least impressed by. Not necessarily the worst looking game, but a game that you like, that you saw maybe at the conference or on the show floor that you just weren't impressed by. You're kind of wondering, why are you even here at E3? Any thoughts? I know this is kind of a really random question.
I have quite a few actually,
Okay.
which is, I mean, obviously the top one, we've talked about it many times before, Call of Duty Ghost. Looks like that's crap. Just complete disappointment all around so far for me. Second one, is the Reese, whatever, Son of Rome.
Oh, yeah.
I was telling Paul earlier, Nathan, one of the Gamefront is a site that I follow on Twitter, and they tweeted, yeah, it's got QTEs on it, but, you may have misunderstood our E3 coverage. And I was thinking, like, it wasn't your coverage that made it. It seemed like it was nothing but QuickTime events. It was the presentation of the game that showed nothing but QuickTime events that made it look like that. So, I mean...
Yeah, so I'm talking to, they acted like, well, you don't have to use those QuickTime. They're just there if you want to use them. So I'm like, well, they're there every 5 seconds. So, I mean, you're pretty much going to be doing them all the time anyway. Because there's no fail. You can't fail them. So there's no consequences for not doing them. That's why they're saying they're not QuickTime events.
Well, another thing, too, is that the action went into slow motion when it was a QuickTime event. I was like, you're going to give me 10 seconds to decide if I want to hit the X button or not?
Yeah.
Like, it's just,
The game just looks really weird.
Yeah.
I don't even know if
I don't.
The main character looks unrelatable. The story is, I don't know. I don't know the story, but like the first scene is like D-Day.
Like
it's
Private Ryan.
Yeah. I don't know. I watched that whole presentation. I thought, oh, it looks pretty good graphically, but not necessarily amazing. And the rest of it, I was just really unimpressed with. The hacking slashing didn't look that interesting. There's QTEs all the time, and the environment itself, I just don't care about it. And then once I realized that it was coming from that it was originally a Kinect game that they've just kind of transferred over because they thought, well, if we sell this as a Kinect game, it's going to bomb because nobody likes to Kinect. That just made me really think that the people who made this game probably don't care anymore, because they originally made it one way and now they're saying, oh, I'll remake it for this next console and do it like this now. Like, I would be like, okay, I'm done with this game. I've been working on it for like 5 years. You maybe redo it again. I see that being kind of like the perfect dark of the Xbox One. Like people are kind of excited about it. They think it looks kind of cool.
Good analogy.
And then it's just going to be like really, really underwhelming. And people are just going to be like, wow.
And they'll be like, this doesn't look as good as it did when I saw it. And they'll be like, that's because it's not running on a PC.
Yeah, it's not running on GeForce GTX cards like they were at E3. That's another thing we didn't really touch about. Xbox are a bunch of liars. That's all we got to say. Misrepresented their games. That's all I gotta say.
Total and complete meltdown. I mean, this Microsoft, I'm looking at you square in the eyes right now. Just
Yes.
you and me right now.
It's intense.
Just quit. Just stop. I don't know what else. Like, just, you are blowing it.
Yeah, just don't say anything else. Just get quiet. Just disappear for a while. Let the storm ride out. Which actually, before we get back to games, because Nathan, you're next, I think, on this quest. It makes me feel better about Assassin's Creed 4 crashing on the PlayStation reveal or whatever, because they were running on dev kits. So they're running on like unfinished PlayStation 4. So it was an unfinished game on an unfinished console. So that makes a lot more sense. Like, I don't feel as bad. It's still really embarrassing and it shouldn't have happened, but
I didn't even know it crashed.
did you not see that? Oh yeah, it just stopped working.
Oh, yeah.
And she just walked off stage. She's like, well, see you later. They just moved on. It was pretty bad.
That's terrible.
All right, Nathan, most underwhelming game of E3, go ahead.
Oh, God. Kyle pretty much hit on it, really. I mean, with Call of Duty.
That's just stupid.
I guess it's not really underwhelming, but Microsoft, they showed off all these games, but several of them, it was just like, here's a 10-second clip, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, what the... Okay, why can't you show me... I don't know. I just feel like it's pointless in a way, because it's just teasing you, but not showing anything about it. I don't even know if it showed the name of the freaking game.
Yeah.
It's just like some dude, going down the side of a building and breaks through a window and then punches some dude. And
Yeah,
then,
that was like a new studio, and
Yeah.
I think one of the things is like, this may not actually be a game. We're just showing you what they're working on, and it's supposed to be like in-game engine stuff.
yeah. So it's just like, what the freak is this?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people love this game, but I could give two craps about it. It's Kingdom Hearts. I don't know. Nothing
Yeah.
inside me is like, oh my God, I can hit a cartoon character with a...
I think
How dare you?
I was gonna say, I think if you're gonna be excited about Kingdom Hearts, you're gonna have to play the original Kingdom Hearts and really, really love JRPGs, because that's really
what
what
you're saying.
it is.
I'm never
It's-
on this PlayStation, so I've never played any of them. So I mean, I guess that's why I'm not excited. But
And I think even if you played the originals, you'd be like, what the heck is this? Because it's very, very JRPG-ish, which, I mean, you just really have to like JRPGs. And I
Yeah.
mean, I've seen gameplay of it. I've actually never played it, and I kind of like it. I think it's kind of a cool game. But I wasn't necessarily excited about it either, so I understand your feeling.
that's about it for me.
Well, I have two, and they're going to be fairly obvious why they are so underwhelming, and I don't understand why they were there, because they're already out, and you can already play them, and it makes no sense. One of them is Minecraft for the Xbox One. At first, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's a really smart idea. They can make it bigger, they can make it better, because the Xbox version really just sucks. And then I was thinking about it, and I was like, wait, the PC version, while it's not going to be the most perfect version in the world, is going to be the best version. It's moddable, free skins. You don't have to pay for skins like you do on Xbox. It's an infinite world, which will not be on the Xbox One. There's a million servers that are all modded, and you can play like Super Smash Brothers on the servers. You can play survival games on the servers. You can do all this cool, crazy stuff on the servers that you'll never be able to do on the Xbox One. I don't care anymore.
So was that the difference between Xbox 360 and Xbox One? Is that are they increasing the size of the world, or are they not
yeah.
doing anything?
I think they're definitely increasing the size of the world. They're probably going to update it closer to, because the original or the version that's on Xbox now doesn't have all the features that even the PC version has. So it'll probably have a lot more closer to the version that's on the computer. But it's still not going to have like mod support and stuff, and that's where Minecraft shines, is the fact that I can change the textures, I can add mods to it and make it more fun. I can make it look better with different mods and stuff. It's just, to me, at first I was like, that's really smart. They're going to sell 1 million more copies, and then I was like, wait, are they? Because there's a lot of people who bought into the Xbox One version think, oh, let's just see what it's like. And of course, it was like the fastest selling XBLA title. It has more hours played than any of the Call of Duty games. But those are really hardcore Minecraft fans. And like for me, like I play Minecraft, I like Minecraft, I record Minecraft, but I'm not going to buy another Minecraft. I have the premium version of Minecraft, so why would I want another?
I was about to say, Paul, you forgot the most important reason. You won't have to have an Xbox One to play it.
That's true. That is true.
Because you already own it on PC.
Exactly. And I won't have to like check in every 24 hours to make sure my Minecraft works. The other game is another game that's already out on PC, and they're porting technically a better version over to the PlayStation 4.
Diablo 3.
It is Diablo 3. And first of all, I played through Diablo 3. Story was very underwhelming. It was not a good enough game for me to say, I'm going to beat it all the way through Inferno, even though I did do a second playthrough pretty far, but that was only because I was playing with a friend. It's just, it's not an old game, but it's an old enough game, and why are you showing that at E3? Nobody cares. Like, who's sitting on a console saying, man, I wish I could play Diablo 3? I don't.
Not many. I mean,
the people that wanted to play Diablo 3 did because they already had a PC to play it.
Yeah, and the people who really wanted to play Diablo 3 played Diablo 2, and that was a PC only title. And like that game was super popular for a lot of different reasons, and it lasted for years and years and years. But Diablo 3, I just don't see it having that same longevity. They didn't give all the promises they said they were originally. There's supposed to be some type of like PvP 5 versus 5 like arena duel, which I was like so excited about. Never came out. There's no more reason to play that game. I can just sit there and run through it over and over and try to get a bunch of good items and beat the Inferno boss, but I don't this is not going to get me anything. Like, the reason you did that in Diablo 2 is to get the really good items, and once you got the really good items, you started doing like the ladders. They had like PvP ladders, so you started doing that, and wham bam, thank you ma'am, it was a fun game. So those are my most underwhelmed games. I don't know. It really just kind of blew my mind that any of those games are even there. I don't know. It was just me.
Can I add to my list?
Yeah, you can.
I gotta say Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Wow, great. I've seen this like 6 times before now because you release a game every 4 months. Sorry. I think they need to, and I think Ubisoft said that they have 3 in development right now.
I wish they would spend more time.
Holy crap!
Now that I think about that, though, I bet you some of those are portable games. They would count those as separate games. I bet you those are some like portable.
Well,
but
I think their studio head said we're doing that to keep it fresh, so we can. I'm like, how does that? You have no time between. You don't know. You don't have time to catch your breath.
Yeah, I mean, they're making more money clearly, by cranking out these games, but I have much more respect for a game and like care for it a lot more if there's a bigger gap between it. If, like you're saying, I don't know, I bought the previous Assassin's Creed, but I didn't beat the last 2 because I just got bored with it and didn't care. And I'm probably not going to buy this one just because it's, like you said, it's the same stuff. Yeah. There's nothing new to it. I wish they would just, take 2 years off and change the dynamic of the game some or something like that, and keep it actually fresh for people that wants to play your game.
This is sort of along this kind of lines. I read a tweet the other day, and I forget the name. Not somebody I followed. It was a retweet. So whoever it is, if this is ringing a bell to you and you're listening to it, I give all credit to you.
They're not.
Yeah, they're not. I feel like there was just some kind of copyright infringement that I need to make sure. But anyway, it may have been like Friday or Saturday when everybody was picking up The Last of Us, and he said, I've got a PlayStation 3. The only 4 games I've bought are all games by Naughty Dog. And I think that just goes to show, I mean, I've played the Uncharted games. I know if I say that I'm not a huge fan of them, I'm going to, I'd catch a lot of flack around, certain circles. Not because I think they suck. I just didn't get into them. And I just never, had the time to sit down and play through all of them. But I have played them, but, I'm playing through The Last of Us right now. And I think it just goes to show, like, the gameplay, maybe kind of the art style and mechanics between the two are similar, but obviously they took time to think of something new and say, like, okay, we have arguably one of the most, well, I mean, not arguably, one of the successful franchises from this past generation, even arguably of all time, with Uncharted. Where do we go from here? And they didn't just make Uncharted 4 or, whatever, just... Nathan.
Well, they're good at building like storyline. They really build their characters up really well, and so you kind of get immersed in the game more. And that's with all these other games that crank out every year, like no one even knows what the heck's happening in the story. I don't think.
That's what
At least
and,
I don't have a clue.
If you go back and look at people's like dislikes about Assassin's Creed 3, it's like everyone's like Connor was stupid. He sucked as a character. Like, well, that's just what my point is, though. Is like you can come out with 4 games in a console generation and be just as successful if you're pumping out 6, 7, 8 titles. If you take the time to develop the game and make it good, rather than like, oh, we got to get these out. I mean, you just saturate, the market, and I've lost all complete interest in Assassin's Creed because I just don't care anymore because there's so many of them.
Yeah. Well, like, where do you start at this point? Like, because there is an underlying linear story throughout all the games, and while some of the games kind of teeter off of that, especially I think Assassin's Creed 4, you're not even playing as some of the main characters. I think you're just playing as a guy who just goes into the Animus and shoots back in time to do some stuff. So that's supposed to be kind of a plus of the game, is that you're not going to be doing a lot of back and forth time jumping. You're just going to be in there playing a pirate. But I mean, if you have never played an Assassin's Creed game, this might be a good place to jump in, but I'm going to guess it's probably not, because you're going to be like, well, what the heck's the Animus? What is he talking about? Like, I don't have any reference to this whatsoever. But I don't know. That's kind of the danger of a lot of those games that just keep coming back year after year. And two of the ones you said are exactly that. You said Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed. They were your most underwhelming games. And I mean, there's a reason for that. It's because they're not trying. I mean, they're trying to do something new, but they're not giving themselves the time to really put new stuff in.
I hate to keep harping on it, but I do have a great point.
Okay, this is last thing, and then we're moving.
Last thing, real quick. Ubisoft's one of the, if not the studio head, one of the higher ups there was talking about how this console generation's killed creativity, and like nobody's making like new stuff. Coming from the guy that is making Assassin's Creed 16. Yeah, so just.
All right, so we're going to go and jump to the extreme opposite. What do you think was probably one of the more exciting and or innovative games that you saw? This, again, was not necessarily the games that you think, oh, that's the game I'm most excited about, but just from what it was doing and that kind of standpoint, that was new and fresh and exciting. We'll start with Nathan this time. I hope you're ready.
Well, I guess I got 2. One being, they showed it off last year, but Watch Dogs. I think that's kind of been the model of next gen games. And I don't know, I watched an interview on Rev Games with Adam Sessler was interviewing the lead designer or whatever from the game, and he was just talking about ways they're integrating people can like jump in to your game while you're playing without even knowing they're in there, and they can hack stuff to make the game more difficult for you. I thought that was kind of pretty sweet, just integrating other players interacting even in your single player games. And they showed off, I know a lot of games are doing the tablet integration with all their games, but basically he had a point where in this level he was like stuck in a part, so you can put like a ping out to any of your friends online and they can get on their tablet, and basically it shows on their tablet is an overview of the city, and it shows your location on there. And as you're going through the city, he can like, cause blackouts or hack this and this. I don't know. I just thought it was pretty neat. The second one is The Division.
Yeah, that's one of mine.
Probably, I don't know. I know you said not most excited for, but I just think that game looked incredible graphically.
I just mean like it doesn't have to be the most exciting.
You
can be excited about it. I'm not gonna say you can't be excited about it.
But I thought the graphics were incredible. I think it's the open world stuff, and I didn't realize it watching the demo, but it's survival too.
Yeah, and he closes the door on the car. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that blew
I'm making fun of
my
Kyle.
mind. Man, I don't know what. There was just something about it.
It's those little details.
That's what really affect me a lot. Like, I don't know if it, but like you could. There could be some, I don't know, the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life, and you could have one little thing that nine out of 10 people aren't going to notice, but I notice a guy, he's crawling by a door and closes it, and I'm like Paul. I mean, he has every right to make fun of it because it's like, did you see him close that door? Oh, let me rewind it. He closed that door. I mean, I really was stupid about it, but I don't. Just little things like that. That's what next gen is. It's making, because I mean it's
more realistic.
Yeah,
and we talked about
I
was just gonna say we talked about it when we saw it, and I was like, well, because and the reason that was because I just didn't notice it, and so that's why I make fun of him. But one of the things I said, I was like, well, you know, the reason it's such a big deal is because, like, in the last generation, the generation before, that door would have stayed open and your character would have just gone around it like it was an object. Like, he would have just kind of, like, humped over it, which is, you know, you just, when you're playing it, you don't think about it. But when you see him close the door, you think, oh, that's a static, movable object. Like, we're so used to seeing objects just be, like, stone and non-movable. I mean, think about, like, the cars in Call of Duty. They literally make them decrepit and stuff so that way it makes sense while they're not moving around, because they're just walls for, you know, just really pretty walls. So it is kind of a big deal to see physics in something that's usually just environment. And actually I remember reading in Game Informer, I don't know, a year and a half ago, they were talking about graphics, and like the next big thing about graphics is not going to be how pretty the textures are. It's going to be how the ambiance and all the little details come together to build that just, you know, the aura of the game, to make it feel more realistic. It's not making it look more realistic. It's making the world act more realistic. And that's really the next gen in graphics is being able to process, you know, that many different types of movable objects. So
I think that goes to, I mean, if you were to ask, you know, whoever, like, you know, what are the games that stand out to you in this last generation, I'd be hard pressed for at the top of their list BioShock not to be up there. And the reason is because for the time, Rapture was just, and it still is. I went back and played it, and I mean, it literally, like, I don't know, I guess I had like an underappreciation for the game, but Rapture was just, you never seen anything like it before. So imagine Rapture times 2, like, that's what
squared.
I want from Rapture, BioShock Infinite 2, Rapture Squared. Ken Levine just sold your next game for you. But that's what I mean. Like, just imagine like that on steroids, like that kind of atmosphere, that feeling you got when you were going through it for the first time, but amplified. Like that. I think that's what's exciting about next generation.
Yeah. Didn't mean to cut you off there, Nathan. I know you're still talking about Division.
That's cool. Well, yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much hit on it. I was going to say, the physics in it. I thought the bullet damage was impressive in that. Like, bullets going through the glass, it wasn't just like, oh, the glass shatters. It was like certain little chunks and like it cracks off of that. And I don't know, I just thought that was really cool. But yeah, the survival aspect, I didn't realize once you got into the world, you only apparently had like 72 hours of supplies. And you have to.
I didn't know that either.
Basically, you have to go and collect water and food and get ammunition and everything like that.
That is awesome.
That's a trend that's coming from the DayZ game that's been a mod in development for the Arma 2 series. I don't know. Do you guys know DayZ?
Yeah.
That's a serious question.
I don't know. A lot of people. You guys don't have computers as far as I'm concerned, so I have no idea. Do you know what graphics cards are? Do you know what Steam is? Anyway, do you know how a keyboard mouse works together to play? Okay.
I don't know how to type.
But that's exactly how that game works. You get in that game. If you die, you got to start all over. New character, new stuff. And you have to find all your resources again. So I didn't know that either. That's actually really exciting. The only reason, I think that's a really cool gameplay idea. The only reason I've never played DayZ is it's based off Arma 2, and Arma 2 is probably one of the clunkiest games I've ever seen in my life. I watch people play DayZ for the first time, and they're like, okay, and they're like, their inventory shows up, and they're like trying to get stuff off the body, and they're like, what's his inventory? What's my inventory? I don't get this at all. Like, how do I pick up stuff? How do I equip it? And they just don't know what's going on. So I've always wanted to play it because I think it's a cool idea, but it'll be interesting to see it in the next gen where it's more refined and it's not based off some old clunky game. I know people probably love Arma 2 out there because it's super realistic military, whatever, but I don't know. So that's cool. I didn't know that about Division. It actually makes me more excited about Division. Division's one of my games of E3, definitely. But we'll move over to Kyle. What's yours? Is it also the Division? $20 says it is.
Well, I mean, obviously you've got to, like Nathan said, I think Watch Dogs is right now like the preeminent next gen title. Like you don't think of next gen without thinking Watch Dogs. Obviously, yes, the Division I think looked really sweet. I am not a driving game fan. Driving games and fighting games are on the same kind of level as me. I suck at them. I don't play them. I do appreciate what Drive Club and the crew are trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just it's not just get in a car and race somebody. It's build your car with your friends.
Yeah,
and then race somebody.
Yeah, and then race somebody.
What's cool if you get a PlayStation Plus, Drive Club's multiplayer is free, which is pretty awesome.
Oh yeah.
How does that work if you're getting PlayStation Plus?
Well, I don't know, but that's just what they said.
Okay. Oh man.
I'm guessing it's a free download. So.
Oh okay.
I also have to add Destiny on there. They showed a little bit more gameplay, and I knew it was a massively multiplayer
experience,
but
that's the best way to say it.
Yeah, actually to see it, like I mean, it was real time on the fly. All of a sudden, there was just massive players on the screen, and you're in a public event. Like I thought that was really. There was not like, do you want to switch over to this server, or some kind of like queue? It happened.
That was actually really cool. That was
oh wow, that's impressive.
Really impressive, because that whole beginning, it was beautiful. They were running through this level. They were shooting things, and they were in this like dark wall thing, and they come out on the other side of the wall, and there's just this big robot monster beast, and then all these other players come out of nowhere, and it's just. And that game, I'm so excited about that game because it touches on all the things that I like. It has different classes, it has stats, it has different weapons. And a big thing for me in games is when I put on a piece of armor, I want to look different. And I know that's like something that's pretty common now in video games, but like back in the GameCube days, like that didn't happen so often. So I'm really excited about that because then I can look different than everybody else. I'm like, look at this cool armor I have. It actually comes from when I used to play World of Warcraft. I used to get really jealous of people who are like max level and they've been doing the raids and they had these like super freaking crazy shoulder pads and this crazy helmet and this big sword and shield, and I was like, man, I want that armor so bad. So yeah, what is it called again?
Destiny.
Destiny, that's it. I kept wanting to say Division, so that's not the same game. But it's just, oh man, I'm really excited about that game.
Divinity.
Yeah, Divinity, and you can the fact that I think that you can have a spaceship and your own space dock, and you can like change your spaceship and fly through space and do space battles and go to like different planets. I'm nerding out about this game right now.
You need to pump the brakes, Paul.
Dude,
pump the brakes.
The more I hear about this game, there's like 5 different enemies in the game, and they're all like from different planets. And one is they think it's an enemy. They don't know yet because it hasn't been confirmed if there's this other like group of enemies. But oh man, it's like, because to me, it's like I love MMOs. But MMOs aren't fun unless my friends are playing it. And I've never played an MMO with a friend because I don't have any friends that play MMOs. So this to me is like, I think there was one point where I got to know this one guy when I was playing World of Warcraft, but I would get like really bored. I would like play World of Warcraft for like 3 months and get really bored because it like slows down after a while. Like you level up real fast at the beginning and then it just slows down. And I would get so bored, I would just stop playing. So like I lost contact with that guy. It's like, okay, well, and he was always a higher level than me, so I never got to play with him. And like, I'm pretty sure that's not how. Again, this Divinity game, I forget the Destiny is not. I don't think it does. It have levels and stuff in it? I don't think it does. I think you just kind of run around and do whatever you want, kind of from the beginning.
I don't know if that's levels, but I mean, you clearly can customize all the weapons. It has like each weapon has like a skill tree, and then
I think there's that kind of stuff.
Abilities you can get, but I don't know if there's actually actual levels.
I think that it's kind of more skill based if you want to tackle on something a little bit harder. I don't know though. I can't remember. There was a discussion. There was a video I watched where it talked more about it, but I can't remember. Doesn't matter. Okay.
I know you're excited for NBA 2K14 after that.
I was going to say that. Actually, on my notes right here, it says NBA Live 14 Super Dribbling. That's what I wrote down about that game. Because it's the best dribbling ever in a simulated basketball game in the history.
Blow your effing mind.
It's better dribbling than the simulated dribbling in Space Jam. I'm saying that right here, right now. I'm making that statement. It is better dribbling than the animated dribbling in Space Jam, which was pretty good.
I'm going to go ahead and invite Michael Jordan to come on the FTHcast to
dispute that.
Dispute that if he would like.
I'm sure he won't, because I'm sure he had nothing to do with that. With the dribbling physics, I mean. He was there dribbling himself, but I'm talking about the Bugs Bunny dribbling physics here.
Okay, Paul. So, I bet I can guess what you're most excited for.
I bet you're going to think it's Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
But it's actually not. I'm kind of butthurt about Elder Scrolls Online. I'm not happy that they're going to consoles, and the main reason is because now it's coming out in 2014 instead of 2013. That makes me mad. That they decided late in the game to go for consoles, and that's pushing the game back. Like, that just breaks my heart. But anyway, no, I've got actually a couple different ones. Dead Rising 3 looks good. I think I like the idea of Dead Rising, but it's always killed me because you had like a time limit on how long you could do things, and that always just like blew my mind.
Did they change that in this one? Because I feel like the tone and everything of the game is completely different.
That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. That's why it's kind of like Dead Rising 3 maybe. I don't know. It definitely out of gameplay, I think it could be the best, because like when I was showing Kyle it, I didn't say anything, but I knew he was going to think the same things I did, because at one part in the gameplay in E3, like 400 zombies bust through this fence, and Kyle was like, "Oh crap!" And that's what I was thinking. And then I was like, "Boom! Another fence goes down, another 400 zombies. Oh crap again!" And then he turns around, another fence goes down, 400 more zombies, and it's just like, wow, that's really impressive. Like to have a realistic scale of a city-wide zombie apocalypse, like
yeah.
I mean, they kind of had that they definitely had a lot of zombies in their previous Dead Rising, but this just looks like epic. Like, this is a lot of zombies. Like, it's not hard because the zombies are really fast or anything. It's hard because there's a jillion zombies and they surround you really quick. So, I don't know. But anyway, Project Spark, which I'm pretty sure is an Xbox exclusive, so I probably won't get to play it. I thought that looked very, very interesting. I think, though, and I always get suspicious when I see really innovative games. My first thought was, is this going to be amazing? But then I also thought of Yog Ventures, which is the Yogscast game that they're making, which basically is kind of the same thing. It's a fantasy setting. You'll be able to go in, mold the world. I mean, it's really almost the same game. It's done a little more elegantly, and I guess they had a lot more money to finish it a lot quicker. But I feel like they're kind of jumping on the bandwagon of what's eventually going to be these titles where you build your own adventures type deal. Kind of like Minecraft was when it first came out. That was kind of the big reason Minecraft got popular really quick, is because you had these adventure maps that other people built, and then you would go on to the adventure, and it was fun. Of course, The Division. So right now, I guess Project Spark on the Xbox. I'm really excited about that. The Division, definitely. I'm trying to think of something else that I was really pumped about. That, oh yeah, we barely talked about Nintendo. I'm excited about Mario Kart 8. That looks freaking amazing. Does it look much different than Mario Kart 7? No, but it's on the Wii U, and I don't have to play it on my DS. So I'm pretty excited about that, and I'm excited about I'm excited about just about everything that Nintendo announced. Most of it's not coming out till 2014. I'll wait. I don't care. I already have my Wii U. So I'm excited about Smash Brothers, Mario Kart. I'm excited about that X game that we were talking about earlier that's made by the Xenoclash people or whatever. I think Nintendo's going to step it up, hopefully, and keep stepping it up. I bet next E3 we see more Mario. I really want a good Mario game. They're coming out with Super Mario Land 3D, which confused me because the original one was on the 3DS and it was actually in 3D. And it's like, why are they doing that? And then I realized, oh, it's kind of like the old school 2D Super Marios, but in 3D. I get it now. Anyway.
Do you see what they did there?
Yeah, I figured it out. But I'm excited about that too, because that's and this is something that Nintendo's doing something that none of the other consoles are doing it all, and that's promoting couch multiplayer, where 2, 3, 4 people sit in the same room and play video games. Remember when people used to do that? Like back in the day, like when normal gamers used to play games normally? Like, nobody does that anymore. And Nintendo needs to step up on doing the online multiplayer, and they have quite a bit. I mean, but what happened to that dream of sitting there with friends and playing video games together? Like,
I'm gonna be honest. If like I could be at someone's house, or they could be over here at mine, and instead of like hanging out and just like taking turns, not all the time, I've done that before too, but I'd be like, hey, do you want me to go home? Or I'd be like, hey, do you want to go home and get on Call of Duty with me? That way you can play too. Like,
yeah. I mean, I was about to say, even like when you come and hang out, a lot of times it's just like me showing you a video game, and it's like we're both not playing a video game together, and it's I don't see why there can't be more of that. And okay, so we could both play Black Ops 2 together in the same room on split screen, but that's not what Nintendo's doing. Nintendo's not just doing split screen. They're doing like there's Super Mario Land 3D. I'm sure Super Mario Kart 8 will be in split screen, but Super Mario Land 3D or whatever, what I'm trying to say here is you're all the characters are on one screen. And the same thing with like Super Smash Brothers, all the characters are on one screen, and they're designing the games to work well with people sitting in the same room playing together, which is awesome. There's no reason not to do that. I don't think there's a demand for only online games that don't work well on couch settings. Like I think that'd be great, because I harken back to the original Black Ops. Me and Nathan, and I did this with another friend of mine, we would get on Black Ops 2 and play together, but instead of getting online, we would just play against bots. We did this, right, Nathan? Was it you and me that did this?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd get bots out and we'd put them on easy, and we'd get like the super duper settings or whatever, and we'd just sit there and snipe them. It'd be like just us two on a team. It'd be like to infinite points for like an hour, and we'd just sit there and like try to get the chopper and the dogs and stuff and just like goof around on it, which was fun. But obviously that wasn't the perfect game and the perfect setting for a couch game. But there's definitely room for that, and I think some demand for that in consoles these days. I mean, that's what really, I think, originally brought consoles a lot of notoriety in the beginning, because PC games weren't like that. It was really hard to make a PC game where two people could sit side by side and play.
Well, I think if you ask somebody to think of like their first, like earliest memory of video games, like just in general, and it's hard not to think of Pong on the Atari.
Yeah,
and also that was a 2-person game. So yeah,
not online.
Not online, right? So I mean, I agree with you there. Like, no, it really has. I mean, that's what makes Smash Brothers so awesome. It's you play with your 4 good friends, and you're not only beating the crap out of them, their character on screen, but you're also yelling at each other, having a good time, laughing about it, stuff.
Eating pizza, drinking Sunkist.
Oh yeah.
You have a VHS of a scary movie you're gonna watch later. Those were the days, man. So, couch gaming. I don't know where that came from. That was a long rant about games I was most impressed about. But I don't know. I really was impressed overall with Nintendo's choice on what they did. I know at first it was really kind of controversial. Oh, they're not going to do a big thing, but I think it worked out for them. I don't know.
Honestly, at the end of the day, like, if you look at it, you're like, does it really matter? And the answer is no. I mean, like you said, it really, at first you're like, what are they thinking? This is, but you're Nintendo. You don't need a stage like that to announce news. Like,
you don't want to spend $500 million and don't.
Yeah, if you have something to say, just let your news outlets know it. I mean, it's not like something big from either one of these companies, PlayStation or excuse me, Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo. It's not like that's going to go unnoticed or unheard. I mean, it's earmuffs, kids. I mean, E3's a dick swinging competition. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, so at the end of the day, I mean, it's.
Yep.
Well, there's a lot of games we did not talk about, but that's fine. Is there any other last topics that we need to discuss? We're getting pretty close to the end of the show here.
The booth dudes at this year's.
Oh yeah, we have not talked about booth dudes. We're gonna have a separate podcast just about booth dudes, I think. FTH, we'll just call it Boothcast, Booth Dude Cast, and it'll just be booth dudes. We could probably do multiple episodes, honestly.
Sounds good.
I'm having an open casting call for any and all aspiring booth dudes.
We should start a booth dude conference, booth dude con. Just have a bunch of booth
BDC.
Just booth, and it'd be booths of booth dudes with booth dudes representing the booth dudes. It's like the most. It's like meta booth dudes. Oh, it'd be fantastic. Okay, well, there's nothing. Oh crap! I just spilled stuff. That's what you get. That's what you get for joking around. Real quick, you just got 1 second. No reason why. You just have to name it. Game of E3. Nathan, you have 2.5 seconds. Go.
The Division.
You missed it. I'm just kidding. So the Division. Kyle, go.
Division.
Oh, you guys are losers. The Division. Okay. No, really. Seriously, the Division. I don't know. I think the Division. I think the more we see of that game, it could be the new game of. It could be the game of E3. I really think so, but I guess if
we just named it the game of E3, how could we make it the new game of E3?
Exactly.
Because the recent game of E3 was Watch Dogs. It was last year's game of E3, I guess. So this year's game of E3 is what I mean.
Can I talk about how kind of weird real quick is that, like, I don't know if it's a pre-order bonus, I forgot what it was, is a bonus 60 minutes of something on, or no, what was it? Oh gosh, Beyond Two Souls. This is way off topic because it's a PS3 game, but I think there was something that was coming up for it, like has an extra hour of, I don't know, side missions.
That's
I don't
ridiculous.
know. I just thought that was kind of weird. I don't know, like, well, wow, an extra hour. I don't know.
Day one DLC, baby.
That's my random thought for the day.
I actually had just as a last minute rant before we go on. I actually had a really long conversation. Well, not a long conversation. It was a long enough conversation. My sister was playing a phone game, and she was talking about how, like, she downloaded it for free. It was really fun, like, puzzle game. But then all of a sudden, to get any further, like, if you died and lost all your lives, you had to wait 30 minutes before you got another life. Otherwise, you had to pay for it. And I was like, Megan, that's the least of a gamer's worries. Like, that's pretty low balling, like, squeezing for money, but that is not the worst out there. It's like, they just want you to pay. They call it pay to win. It's pretty typical now in phone games, but trust me, it gets a lot worse than that.
Yeah, they screw you
a lot worse.
A lot worse than that, especially on phones. Okay, we are really running out of time now, so we're going to do a quick sign off. I want to thank Nathan and Kyle for coming on. Thank you so much, guys.
Anytime.
Oh yeah,
You're welcome.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks
For having me.
Oh goodness. Oh. Yeah, so like, subscribe. I don't know what that last part was. Like, subscribe, comment, favorite, and all those good things. If you're listening to on iTunes, then hop on over to YouTube and like and comment and favorite. Especially comment. Well, I want to know what you guys think about these things. I'm about to run out of time any second now. So thank you guys so much for listening, and I appreciate it.
Booth dudes.
Booth dudes.
Boner Fest.